Ooh, hot. All right, what's going on, guys? It's Derek here from Simnett Nutrition. So thank you so much for joining me for another Ask Me Mondays. As you guys know, this is a series of videos I'm going to be doing every Monday where I answer some commonly asked questions and some not so commonly asked questions that I think either might benefit or entertain you guys. So this week we're going to be talking about weed, some difficulties you might have transitioning to a vegan diet, Fruitarianism, cheat days, and also a question from Instagram. Let's get started. So just before we start, I want to thank all of you who have supported me already in purchasing my recipe ebook. I'm getting amazing feedback on it. People are tagging me in the meals that they've made from it. So thank you guys so much. It was for sale all last week, and unfortunately the sale ended on Sunday night. So it's still for sale. It's just not that 20% off anymore. It's $14 instead of $11, which it was. But I think it's still well worth it. And also I got a new lighting situation going on here, so I might not have it exactly dialed in. Forgive me if I'm like a bit washed out or whatever, but like anything in life, we learn as we go. So the first question comes from James Murphy. Opinion on weed, bro? So we know that it has its medicinal uses, right? I don't think anyone's gonna argue that. We know that it can help people with seizures. It can ease the pressure on people's eyes from glaucoma. It can help people with pain conditions as well. It can increase people's appetites if that's a side effect of a drug that they're taking. So it definitely has its medicinal benefits. It also definitely has environmental benefits. It's a really sustainable plant to grow, and we can make a whole ton of products from it and even replace many plastics. I'm thinking this person wants to know if I smoke it and what I think about other people smoking it. So I think it goes without saying that smoke in our lungs is not a good thing, right? But I know there are other ways of consuming it. There's edibles, there are vaporizers, but I think we can all agree that if you've ever tried edibles before, that it's not the best for productivity, right? If you're taking enough to get high, that is. So I used to smoke it fairly habitually, I'm not gonna lie. Sorry, Mom, but I did. And I put it down because I knew that it was no longer serving me. So I think that there's some people that can benefit from it, but I think that there's a lot of people where it dulls them down and definitely caps their sort of potential, if you will. And I was definitely one of those people. There's a lot of people out there as well that have very addictive qualities to their personality and to their genetics. Who have to be careful with mind-altering substances. So I think we have to be really honest with ourselves when we're trying to decide if a substance like that is benefiting us or holding us back. And often that's hard when your judgment might be clouded, in weed smoke or just in the daily practice of doing something like that. So it's really hard to step back and take an objective approach. But if you're asking yourself, is this good for me? Should I be doing it? Is it helping me? Then it's probably not helping you. I know now that I don't consume it habitually anymore, I feel great. I feel more productive. I have more time, energy, and money to spend on other things in my life. So I'll try and leave a link below with an article from the Swedish government that is really interesting, and it puts it into a really interesting perspective. And it would be a good read for anyone that's thinking of quitting or is trying to quit or has tried to quit before, because I know it was a helpful article for me. So I hope that didn't change your opinion on me at all. I'm just a human being just like you guys, trying to get through this life the best I can. And we're only like products of our environment. So that was something that a lot of my friends did for a long time, and I gravitated towards it for a little while. It served me for a little while, and it doesn't serve me anymore. So I don't know, hopefully you guys can find your way with that one, and hopefully it answered that question for you. All right, so the next question comes from Online Fitness Tips and Motivation. That is in Bulgarian. I had to use Google Translate because I cannot speak or read that language, but I appreciate you watching me all the way from Bulgaria. It's really cool. So, question. What's the most difficult part about having this healthy lifestyle? For example, at the beginning, did you want to go back eating all the bad foods, or did you have any problem with your friends and family? So at the beginning, I definitely had some problems transitioning. It was hard for me. I mean, I don't think I started to transition to a vegan diet until I was about 25, I would imagine. And it took me a couple years after that because, that's 25 years of conditioning, and then to cut them out like that was really difficult for me. Even though I wanted to do it from like an ethical standpoint, it still wasn't easy. There were times where I moved back in with my family who was consuming meat, at the time, and it made it really difficult. And there were pressures of like going out for like wing night and barbecues that my friends would have and that sort of thing, and I found it really difficult at times. However, one thing I do know is that when I would succumb to temptation, those foods never tasted as good as I remembered them tasting, and they definitely didn't make me feel very good. So it was often a good reminder as to like why I wasn't eating that way anymore. But an interesting thought that I think can't be overlooked is that a lot of us get into this lifestyle because we're compassionate and we're empathetic. And empathy meaning that we feel other people's feelings from their situation or their perspective, right? So I found that when I would go out for dinner with friends to a restaurant that I knew there weren't many vegan options at, or when I would go to like a family dinner where there was, people had made me food that they were excited for me to try that wasn't vegan, or they thought was vegan, but it had like mayonnaise in it, or it had eggs, or it had butter or whatever, because a lot of people don't understand this lifestyle, I would compromise on my values in order to please others. And I think that a lot of us struggle with that when we're first transitioning. But that's all part of the transition, and you can take whatever stance you want on that. I'm just telling you how my journey went. And what I found eventually happened was that the line that I drew became less and less blurred, and the people around me got to know me as being a vegan, and I got to teach them more about veganism as I became more comfortable with my voice, telling them, no, I'm not gonna eat that because there's butter in it. I appreciate you trying, but that is not vegan, so I'm not gonna consume it. And it took me a few times of trial and error in order to get that message across. So they call it a journey for a reason, and that's part of mine. So I think, to go back to the question, what's the most difficult part about having this healthy lifestyle? I think it's just sort of interacting with others and being part of meat-eating society. That's one of the most difficult parts of it. But as you transition into it and get better at living this lifestyle, it becomes so easy. People become so used to you being vegan and not consuming animal products that it really becomes a non-issue. And that's the point of my life where I'm at today. And if I'm at a function where people don't know me at all and they expect me to eat something that is not vegan, I have drawn that line, that's hard line, and I'm not going to cross it for anybody anymore. All right, so the next question comes from Tom Grosset. Sorry if I didn't pronounce that right. What do you think of the Fruitarian diet? Have you checked out raw food diet athletes like Michael Arnstein? So yes, I definitely know of Michael Arnstein. He's an ultra marathon runner. He's an awesome athlete, and he seems to be thriving like crazy on a Fruitarian diet. So with the Fruitarian diet, I know some of them eat dark leafy greens and some of them don't. I think if you are doing this diet, I think that you should definitely eat lots of dark leafy greens. And I know some of them will eat some of the higher fat foods like avocado, which is actually a fruit. I bet a lot of you guys thought it was a vegetable, but it is actually a fruit. And I would encourage you to eat that as well. So there's some people clearly like Mike Arnstein, and I've seen some people online that claim they're Fruitarian that seem to be thriving and doing really well on it. However, I don't see it being super sustainable in the long term for most people. So I've seen some of Mike Arnstein's like grocery hauls and the fruit that he keeps, and it makes my fruit stand over there look like the counter at 7-Eleven. You know how they just have like one banana and one apple? Like, it really does. Like, he has multiple fridges. He goes to the grocery store and gets like pallets full of food, which is okay if you're into that. But I like this diet to be easy, to be sustainable, and to be able to like integrate into society as much as you can eating a vegan diet. I really like to appeal to the masses and show them that you can eat a whole foods plant-based diet, still gain muscle, still be healthy and strong, and still eat delicious foods. So I think the Fruitarian thing is a really big jump for a lot of people. So I'm not putting raw foods down at all. I'm a big fan of raw foods. I'm a big fan of fruit. Don't get me wrong there. But I know here in Canada, where we get really cold, long winters, it's really hard to sort of eat a primarily raw diet. I find myself eating a lot more cooked foods in the winter time here because it just feels good and it's what I crave. And they're still healthy foods, yams and potatoes and rice and quinoa. Those are all really good foods for us. So yeah, as far as the Fruitarian diet goes, I myself don't think I'll ever do it, but I do definitely increase my fruit intake and raw food intake in the summer. But in the winter here, man, it's tough to do. So if you're doing it and you're thriving on it, Let me know in the comments down below. I'm curious what all you guys think about the Fruitarian diet. Do you know anyone that's doing it? Have you guys tried it in the past? What's your experience been? Definitely let me know in the comments down below. See if anyone's got at me here on Instagram. Oh God, I got a video from my friend Callum. So I don't know if you guys remember him. He was in one of my videos a little while back in the summer. It was about like movement, and he is like the king of movement. He's like the rubber band man. He is so flexible while still remaining strong. He has amazing handstands, really good guy. So let's see what he has for us.
Yo, Derek, I've got a couple of questions. First of all, I'd like to know when and why you started using weights in calisthenics, and what mental barriers and obstacles you had to overcome, because the additional weight does make it harder.
I started using weights when I found that I hit a plateau where I wasn't putting on any more muscle, but I was able to continue to do more reps. So our bodies are really smart, right? If we're pulling ourselves up and it becomes easy, our body doesn't want to pack on a lot more muscle, because that would just mean that we're heavier. So we will continue to get stronger and we'll be able to do more reps, but we might not actually put on any more mass. So I kind of had this theory, it's a bit of bro science. So when I noticed that I hit a plateau and the noob gains sort of stopped, but I continued to increase my reps, and I was getting up to like 15, 17, pull-ups, and I was able to just do, 25, 30 push-ups at a time. I kind of had an epiphany, and I was like, okay, I got to trick my body into thinking that it's heavier than it is, so that I'll actually put on more mass and put on more muscle. So once I was able to sort of get, over 15 reps of most of my exercises, and then with push-ups, I would say, over like 20 reps, I started to add weight to my calisthenics, and I continued to put on muscle, and I have still continued to put on muscle to this day. So now I do combine my workouts with weights. I do, about half calisthenics, half weights. And then as far as overcoming the mental hurdles, because it does make it a lot harder, you just have to think back onto when you first started calisthenics and how hard that was to get your 1, 2, 3 pull-ups in a row. It's going to be like that again when you start adding weight. So if you add so much weight that, you can do, 15 pull-ups without weight or 12 pull-ups without weight, and then you try and add weight and you can only do 1, then you're probably adding too much weight. Just add 10 pounds at a time, add 15 pounds at a time, that sort of thing. And as you guys know, I really like drop sets as well. So what I would do when I started is I would add maybe 25 pounds at the start, and I'd be able to do 3 or 4 really, really difficult reps. And then I would take some of that weight off, and then I would continue to do, another 3 or 4, and then I would take the weight off and be able to do another 3 or 4 with just my body weight. So, 4 times 3 is 12, so I'd end up doing about 12 reps, which is right in the rep range that I want to be. So, awesome question from Callum. Thank you so much. So the last question here comes from Jason Zellin. Hi Derek, do you have cheat meals or cheat days? I have never seen one in your videos. Having any cheat meals? Thank you. So, okay, as far as cheat days go, no, I don't have full days where I just throw everything out the window and I go, okay, I'm just gonna go and have, I don't know, I can't even think of anything unhealthy that I'd want to have for breakfast, but, I don't really think that way because I enjoy the food that I eat so much as it is. I couldn't imagine having anything more delicious than a smoothie bowl when I get back from my workout, right? So I don't necessarily have cheat days, but I definitely will have some more cheat foods in some of my meals where I'll have like, that's Crystal messaging me and she knows I'm filming. Anyways, back to the question at hand. So I will have some cheat items in my meals, so I'll put some sort of like mock meats into my food every once in a while if I feel the craving to. I don't want to feel deprived on this diet, but I don't really look at it as like a cheat meal or a cheat day. I think the whole idea of like cheating kind of sets you back, right? We feel guilty about cheating, and it's not about that. It's about feeling good about ourselves and honoring our health and wanting to build up our health, not like do something like sneaky and cheat on ourselves. It doesn't make any sense to me. And that's why when I had clients, I didn't give them like cheat days. I didn't say like, okay, eat really well, and then on like Friday night, you can have like pizza or whatever bad meal that you want, because people are constantly like waiting for that day, and then they just go buck wild on that day, and then their taste buds totally change. They go back to how they were. They want to crave salt. They want to crave fat and the sugars again. So yeah, I don't think that cheat days are beneficial, but the question was, do you have cheat meals or cheat days? No, I generally don't. I try and honor my body and my health as often as I can, but I will put some slightly unhealthy items in my meals sometimes because I still like them, and I don't have another answer for that. So anyways, that concludes this week's Ask Me Mondays. Thank you guys so much for asking all the questions, for supporting me, and definitely leave questions in the comments down below for next week. It's going to be a good one next week. I'm really excited about it, and I'm also excited to be sharing this whole journey with you guys, building up my YouTube channel, releasing my ebook, and hearing about your guys' journey has been so amazing for me. It's such a fulfilling life, and I'm nothing but grateful. So definitely subscribe if you guys want to see more from me. Hit the like if you guys like these Ask Me Mondays, and I will see you guys on the next video.